Go ahead and give some information on 3 more emblems, even though we've had a big reveal and we know a little bit about all of them now. I figure keeping it to 3 is the most concise. So, really quickly, in the last video I did talk about Marth, Celica, and Sigurd. I wasn't too confident about Celica, but that stuff did seem to be correct, so we can keep that as is. Now 3 more were revealed, and it wasn't in such a nice order. Now we have Lyn, Corrin, and Byleth. Go not in the order of reveal, but in the order of character. Emblem Lyn, known as the Emblem of Blazing, is a nomad who lives in harmony with Mother Nature, and is a skilled swordsman. She hails from the continent of Alib, from another world, and is a noblewoman related to the Marquis of Kalen. Lyn is able to talk to 80, so another confirmation that they can talk to people who aren't you. Lyn honestly looks pretty cool as an emblem. Like, she looks like herself, but the colors pop more, and she's always been a colorful character, so I think this is a really good direction. Emblem Lyn excels in winning fights through merciless onslaughts that gives foes no chance to retaliate. She's good at both close-ranged assaults and from sniping from a distance, making her ideal for units carrying heavy firepower. That pretty much tells you all you need to know. She's very much an onslaught-type character, which makes sense considering her crit animations kind of being about surrounding and just completely overwhelming her foes. Her sync skill is called Desperation. It allows you to perform a follow-up attack before the foe counters. So this is actually the skill from Heroes, Desperation. You just need to have higher speed than theirs. In Heroes it's by 5. Here we don't know exactly how much faster you need to be. She also has engaged weapons like the Killer Bow to increase crit rate. So her first engaged skill summons 4 clones around the enemy. The point of these clones is that there's this new thing called coordinated attacks, or they might be called collaborative. We don't know the exact translation. But effectively, units have subtypes, and the stealth subtype increases their resistance in the terrain. These are things that I'm going to go over more later, but one subtype is called coordinated, or again, might be translated to something similar but different. The 4 Lyn clones are coordinated, and when one unit starts an attack, all of the coordinated units surrounding the foe who are in attack distance, so for archers 2 away, for physical 1 away, the coordinated allies will jump into the attack for a chain attack and just keep on fighting. So Lyn summoning the 4 clones means her attack will do at least 3 more attacks. Probably not at 100% damage, but 3 more attacks. Which is a really nice callback to her crit animation, splitting Urban 4. It's a little weird because Astra is kind of known for being her thing, but it was taken down from 7 attacks to 4 for this, but maybe they're all at 100% damage. And she's not the only character to use Astra. It's not even I don't even think she originated it, but it's a big thing for her, so it's a little weird for her to not have it now. It's actually weird that the Lotus Star Rush from Marth is pretty much that. It was given to Marth instead of Lyn, but the coordinated attack thing is a direct callback to her crit animation, so I get why they went with that. However, despite my feelings on Astra going to Lotus Star Rush, Astra was also changed or nerfed into Astra Storm, which isn't the same thing. Astra Storm is a ranged attack instead of a sword attack, and she can hurt an enemy 5 times. Her distance is, I'm going to guess, around 8 squares for it. It's a really long-ranged skill, but it does 5 attacks instead of the 9 or 7 that Astra used to, depending on the game. But the range is insane, and if you're using a covert ally, which is the stealth, you get extra bonuses in terrain characters, covert ally, it goes up to a range of 10 squares, so halfway across some of these maps, which truly makes Lyn a force to be reckoned with, regardless of the Astra thing being a little bit on the confusing side. Alright, so Corrin. Emblem Corrin, known as the Emblem of Fates, possesses the blood of the first dragons and an unbreakable heart. Gotta keep it vague because there's 3 routes, Corrin's sync skill is called Dragon Vein. Okay, so based on the type of unit you are, that depends on what Corrin will create. For example, Vein of Water creates puddles that lower the avoid by 30. Cavalry makes that. Vein of Mist, created by Covert, creates Mist, which increases avoid by 30. Covert units double that into 60. If you're an armored unit, you create the Vein of Greenery, which makes it so you can't break, which really tells me the break might be applicable to us. Otherwise, why would you make that? It's also a really good thing to give to your armored units because they're the ones that are going to be taking hits, so they can't get broken, so they can continue to retaliate. There's also the Vein of Succor. It creates a glow that heals HP every turn. And that's made by flyers. it seems mystical units, or, your mages, will create the Vein of Flame fire that hurts 10 damage every turn. Vein of Ice, made by the Ki Adepts, or Chi Adepts, creates ice pillars that we believe could hinder movement. And then there's the Vein of Protection, which is earth pillars that boost defense and resistance. Since there's nothing else, I would guess that's like the coordinated type, or whatever that's going to be called. The last type of unit that I know about, at least, is the Dragon type. And Dragon type units are able to pick whichever one they want for the situation. That is one skill. That is just the sync skill. So, the reverse katana, coming from Hocho actually, is the Emblem weapon. It reverses the weapon triangle, so it's effective against lances. Dreadful Aura is the Emblem skill, and it makes it so enemies within 1 square radius can't move for a turn. That's just a free skill. And Torrential Roar is the Engage technique, or the other Engage skill. It attacks 3 enemies in a line in front of the user. It also applies the Water, which is the Avoid -30 tile, so good luck avoiding. I'm very curious to see what this does when killing units with things like that, or if they have to live with 1 life, like in other Fire Emblem games past. But either way, I think that's a pretty good emblem right there. Very versatile. Alright, so Emblem Byleth came out, and first off, there were 2 tidbits with Byleth. One being, there'll be these little mystical spots with emblem energy. If you end your turn there, your energy fills back up. So if you start at 3 turns, you finish your turn, you go down to 2, finish again, you go down to 1. If you end on one of those turns, you go back up to 3 turns. So do that if you're trying to stay engaged. But lastly, but then they also mentioned that there are chests. Like at every Fire Emblem game, open them to get the weapon inside or the item inside. If an enemy thief takes it, kill that thief, you still get the item. Emblem Byleth, known as the Emblem of the Academy, is a former mercenary, now instructor of the Officers Academy. So yeah. Now, Byleth is said to be more effective when surrounded by allies, and that makes sense because Divine Pulse is the sync skill. When you equip Byleth, you get Divine Pulse. And it allows an attack that would have otherwise missed the target to hit with a fixed chance of triggering. So first off, with Divine Pulse, you've already got your hit chance. Now, let's say you've got a 90% hit chance. In the 10% chance you fail, there's now an X, we don't know, percent chance of increasing, of hitting, despite the fact that you should have missed. So that really does lower your chances of ever missing an attack. And Byleth's weapons are all of the hero's relics, so depending on who Byleth is equipped with, you get all these different items, but it's also shown that sometimes the item doesn't match your class. So sword class can use an axe or relic, so there's something like weird and timey-wimey going on with it. Goddess Dance is an engage skill that basically 4 allies surrounding Byleth in the cardinal directions can get refreshed. A whole nother turn. Byleth's other skill is called Instruct, and it grants a command that increases the stats of all allies around the user for a turn. Stat boost depends on the engaged unit. So basically, whoever has Byleth equipped changes what the stat bonus is. Looks like, if it's a dragon unit, all stats are +3. Flyer, resistance +5. Mystical, magic +4. Backup, strength +4. Ki adept, luck +10. Cavalry, dexterity +10. And covert is speed +5. So it seems like Byleth is another unit who works best paired up with dragons. Kind of popular. But who knows? I mean, really, all stats +3 might not always be the best thing. Sometimes speed +5 would be a little bit better. That extra 2 speed can be a big deal. But yeah, so those are 3 more of our emblems. And that's all I've got for you today. So thank you, and until next time.